Kaylee, thank you so much for going first. It's not easy, so good job. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We've got your brochure, your Kentucky Derby brochure up. Now, the first thing that I want to mention is the color. I think blue is the wrong color. I think that the whole cover right here is too sedate for a program for a brochure for the Kentucky Derby. Kentucky Derby is a fast action, fast pace. What do they call it? The fastest 2 minutes in sports, I think. So to use this image, this really sedate, like just really almost sad image of this horse in this background, this pasture background, it's not indicative of what the Churchill Downs Kentucky Derby holds in the store. Okay, and I think that's the first thing that creates a disconnect. The next thing I would use a race image in here. I think this image is great. I would use that image right here on the front cover. And then come in here and sample a color out of here to use for the background color for the rest of the program. And I say that because this blue is just, this almost looks like a I don't know, like a maybe like an old school book, like an old book cover with that color. And you don't want that. You want this to be to show this action, this, what do you expect? You should be look at this cover of the brochure and say, that's a visual representation of the Kentucky Derby. And is this? And I would say, no, I would say this is. And so think about that. Okay, so typography looks good. Everything looks pretty good here. One thing I would recommend that will really pull this together is actually, let me do something real quick here. Sorry about that. Just want to do something really quick. But okay, that May right there, it's precarious because of the way it's not really in alignment up here. So what I would do with that May, that date right there, is I would align it with Churchill Downs right there. Um, Sorry about that. I think that's really going to make a big difference in the whole mathematics of the cover. I think the harmony is going to be just wonderful once you move that over. I think this is a little too large. I would pull that something like that. Okay, change the color of the background, get a race image in there, and you are good to go. Over here, let's take a look at what we have on page 2. We've got the race schedule. Now, this is inside back, but I would say this race schedule is a more important part of the brochure than to be featured on the inside back cover. So I would rethink the orientation of your pages. And I think it's going to come into play. And again, consistency with the background color that you choose for that. And that's going to come into play. Let me see back here. That the whole consistency here is going to come into play, and once I recommend that you mock this up and photograph it. Okay, these are good. This is good. It's showing pretty good typographic hierarchy and clarity, so that's good. This page is very good. There's the hierarchy is great. Very good job there. I think there's no question as to how to navigate this page. So good job there. Then you have. I'm not real sure. So you have, why would this be an insert to the brochure? Why? I don't understand why it just wouldn't be another page. So that's really a curious thing right there. Insert to brochure. That doesn't make any sense. I would recommend making those additional pages. This page right here, there's a couple of things that don't make a lot of sense here. One is this. You've got favorite picks. You got 3 horses, and then odds keep going, but the horses stop, and you have an image there. So that's kind of. And I would say if this was a brochure, I would say that this is one of the most important things in the whole brochure is the odds on the horses. So I would definitely make that a complete list. This image here it says map of the grounds, but it's not a map. It's an overhead photograph, which is very, very difficult to decipher. I mean, if you're standing over here, you're just not going to be able to figure out where you're at. And that's why those little simple illustrations of maps are great, because you can show landmarks. Like, okay, so you can say, like, you make the grandstand bigger so that you know where you're at. You see what I'm saying? So this aerial photograph wouldn't necessarily work for this intent right here. Okay, this page looks good. Now, when I said mock it up and photograph it, this is exactly what I mean. This is great. Portfolio view reviewers love this, and so do hiring professionals. You're showing process, you're showing intent, you're showing craft, and you're showing a final outcome. Fantastic. I like to see the same thing here with this piece. I'd like to see you mock that up, print it out, and photograph it. This is a good piece. I think that this back cover right here, you need some text back here. It's just too, it's too, you got to have some information on there. Since there's nothing on the front cover, and understandably so. It's a great image. It's a really good concept. I would recommend doing something with the inside here too. I don't know what you want to do. Maybe just her silhouette, the girl's silhouette, right? You know, somewhere in there, something to tie this with this. And I think that's a good idea. It's just something, a little bit of a cut out of the silhouette. Okay. Yes. Good job. This piece is very cool. A couple of recommendations here. The typographic, this is great. I love this piece. I think it's great. Okay, this, I would make this about that big. Because right now it's up in your face, and it's like, doesn't have to be. Let's get in there and look at it, because it's an awesome typographic illustration. And I would like, instead of stick it in your face, I'd like the viewer to go, oh. And you see what I'm saying? So what my recommendation here would be to make the title a little bit bigger, make the illustration a little bit smaller. Okay, and then the spine looks good. Then back here, you've got a lot of area here that could really bring this to interest. Now, remember, image is worth 1,000 words. Let's do this. Let's leave this for Fräulein Elsa's. Don't center align that, though. Let's do this. Well, I suppose since you... We'll keep it center aligned, but this is too big. It's bigger than the title, so that doesn't make sense. The title should be bigger. It's number one position in hierarchy. So let's go ahead and reduce the size of this Fräulein, then get this bonus features and episodes underneath that typographically. That'll open up this whole area for one or two photographs, images of some, I don't know, maybe something out of the show or out of that wonderful introduction or that wonderful beginning. Oh, that's a great show. I love that show. Anyways, and the beginning sequence is always so cool. Maybe you get a couple shots out of that in here. Okay, and then typographically, this indent is clear halfway into the paragraph. Would not do that. I would set that normally, and then I wouldn't put that big heavy block back there. I would just go ahead and set the type in white. On the black background, just open up your kerning and your leading a little bit, and it should be just fine as far as visibility goes. This piece is very interesting. I think this key is a little large. I'm thinking maybe if the key were shaped this way, it would emulate the type and be a little bit easier to work with. That way you can bring the type closer to the key and establish a relationship. Right now, there's not really a relationship to this. And I couldn't really, this is difficult to tell it's a key in this position. You know, you see a key like this, you go, oh, you see 14 keys, immediately it's there and it's a connection. It takes a second for this to realize that this is a key. All right, so my recommendation would be to turn that on its axis, and then you can really bring the type in and create this relationship. Whoops, didn't want to do that. My computer, okay, my computer's going to start to freak out here because I'm overloading it with RAM. Anyway, so yes, I would do that. Where was I? Okay, here we are. Yeah, okay, hang on one sec. So, okay, sorry about that. I got, somehow I got into edit mode. So anyways, I'm back. All right, so anyways, key shape this way. That way you can really draw this typographic interest here between the 14 keys and the author, so that they're all connected. Right now, that the author is so far from the title that it's a difficult connection to make, and visually. And I mean, we know that, you know, eventually we're going to get down there and find out that that's the author, but we're looking at this in three different areas as opposed to a group. See what I'm saying? We're looking at the top, then we're looking at the illustration, and then we finally end up at the bottom before we realize that there is indeed a connection between this and this. Okay, so I really think that proximity here might be improved if you were to turn that illustration on its axis. Let's move forward. All right, Techno Tuesdays. This is a very good piece. I think it's a great piece. I like it a lot. My only issue here is that you've got, boy, Techno's all about color and movement and excitement, and this gray tone, this grayscale monotone here, it just isn't cutting it, man. Let's get some color in here. And when I say color, I mean color. Let's get this thing moving because it's got enormous potential, but it's just so sedate. Everything is receding. The Techno Tuesdays is almost receding into the background, which the title is behind that already, so it just flattens out with no color. And this whole area here with no contrast, um, differentiation here. It's just too monotone. So think about that. Okay, off to the process book. I think the process book looks fantastic. I think this is really showing great process. I think that you're showing your color iterations. Now, the one thing that we don't see here is this. We see your colors. Let's get your digital colors in here. Get some color swatches in there and name your CMYK and RGB colors that you're planning on using for the type. And same thing here, same thing here. And then in your final, this is good, this is good. But my question here and my comment here is that, okay, this looks good, but naturally refreshing. Okay, you should have this on a page. Some page, and so where you can put your type, so you don't have to put your type right on top of your work. It's really super distracting. So like you did here, like you would just put it on a page like that and then title somewhere so we can see it. And then over here, naturally refreshing. I mean, all ads have to have some kind of a tagline or something, a call to action. What do you want the viewer to do? You know, are you introducing a new simple tea product? I would do this. I would say naturally refreshing. I would go like this. I would say naturally refreshing as a headline. But what I would do is I would draw one of the colors out of this, one of these greens or one of these yellows for your complementary color. Then this background right here, I would present that not on a white background. Just go ahead and present it with, flip that white out of there. If that indeed is the logo. I'm not real sure if that's the logo or the contact information. If this contact information, it would probably be better if it were situated across the bottom of the ad like that. Because right now it's taking up too much visual attention. The eye is kind of drawn down there, which it shouldn't really be. And that's because of the heaviness in the white background. So again, I would say you got your headline. Then let's get let me see. I would left align that, refreshing right there. Okay. Then I'd come over here, left align, just a little paragraph, a little call to action. What exactly do you want the viewer to do? What are you doing? Are you introducing it? You see what I'm saying? Make it look more like an ad. Okay, and then you have your logo and your contact information. All right. All right. Oh, wow. I'm at 12 minutes. I am so sorry. Okay, I'm going to cut it short right there. Sorry I took so long. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a holler. Thanks.